Please subscribe my channel, like, share and press the bell button. Where is Malaysian Airlines Flight 370? A simple barnacle could help lead us to the missing plane. By studying the shells of washed-up barnacles, scientists have developed new methods for reconstructing the drift of ocean debris that may help narrow the search. BYCYNTHIA Barnett. Published August 23, 2023. 9 Min Read. Barnacles growing on airplane wreckage washed up on the island of Réunion after the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 have led scientists to promising new models for reconstructing the drift paths of ocean debris, and could someday help solve the great aviation mystery itself, researchers say. The new temperature and chemistry tools, published today in the American Geophysical Union journal Advances, are among the most precise yet for using shell chemistry to retrace unknown paths of crash debris, ocean plastics, dead bodies, and other flotsam carrying Lepus anatifera, known as goose, gooseneck, or stocked barnacles. The chemistry of barnacle shell layers is like a forensic recorder for drifting debris, says marine ecologist Gregory Herbert at the University of South Florida, who began working on the MH370 mystery in the summer of 2015 after seeing news accounts of a flaperon from the missing plane washed up on a Réunion beach, encrusted with barnacles. The barnacle-encrusted flaperon was the first piece of debris found from MH370. It was discovered on a beach on the French island of Réunion, 16 months after the plane's disappearance. Photographed by Roman Latournerie, Chinois, EYEV, Redix. In the 8 years since, Herbert built an international team to develop methods for tracking the ocean temperatures the barnacles traveled through and statistical formulas that could, in theory, turn that temperature history into a drift pathway that leads back to the crash, he says. Australian senior government oceanographer David Griffin, who has helped search for the missing jetliner since it vanished over the Indian Ocean in March 2014 with 239 passengers and crew members on board, called the research an important step towards possibly satisfying Malaysia's requirement for credible new evidence to restart the search. We knew there were clues encrypted in the shells of the barnacles, but the problem was that no one really knew how to decode them, says Griffin, who was not involved in the research. That's what this group has done. They've given us the methods to decode the data that's there, stored in barnacle shells. Hitchhikers of the sea. Living throughout the world's temperate and tropical seas, stocked barnacles begin life as free-swimming larvae that ride ocean currents until they settle, often en masse, on driftwood, a ship's hull, or other floating objects. Lepus cement themselves at the base of their soft stalk, which secretes one of nature's most powerful adhesives. They use calcium carbonate and other minerals from the surrounding seawater to build their wing-shaped shells layer by layer as they grow. Each new layer has slightly different chemical markers, vestiges of temperature, oxygen ratios, and other conditions in the water where it was built. The science of reading those layers is called sclerochronology, the shell equivalent of tree ring science. Imagine a shell like a thick book, where the animal has added one page after another as it grows, says lead author Nasser Al-Khattan, a geochemistry professor at Kuwait University. Deciphering the chemical composition of each individual page, each thin, calcite layer, gives scientists a diary of the seawater through which the animal journeyed as it built its shell. Al-Khattan was working on his PhD in Herbert's Tampa Marine Science Lab analyzing oxygen isotopes in mollusk shells when the flaperon's discovery made news around the world. Photographs and video footage showed several generations of stocked barnacles anchored to the wing piece, a retractable surface that helps control takeoff and landing. The size of the largest barnacles suggested to Herbert that they could have been growing for more than a year, meaning they could have hitched a ride close to the time the jetliner vanished in March 2014. Knowing precise sea surface temperatures and times the barnacles drifted on the flaperon could narrow the search area by an order of magnitude. Oceanographers have temperature histories from satellite-tracked drift buoys throughout the world's oceans, and temperatures change distinctly along the search corridor known as the Seventh Arc, where the plane is believed to have run out of fuel. A buzz of science news stories about the barnacles followed the flaperon's discovery, speculating the hitchhikers would soon help narrow the search area. Griffin says the investigative team hoped so, too. But barnacle sclerochronology is an exceedingly esoteric science. And French authorities, who oversee Réunion as a territory, limited access to the flaperon and its crustacean clues. The French released 2 science reports on the barnacles within a year of the flaperon's discovery. While they were not definitive, they laid a path for longer-term research, Herbert says. Marine scientist Joseph Popin's expert report established the species, size range, and their growth curve, confirming larger, older barnacles on the flaperon that could have colonized close to the crash date. In an unpublished report, researchers Dominique Blamart and Franck Bassineau analyzed isotopes from some of the actual barnacles, which gave Herbert and Al-Katan data to model part of the flaperon's drift. Herbert reached out to the Lepus expert Anne-Marie Power at the University of Galway in Ireland, who signed on to raise live L. anatofera in aquaria to establish shell chemistry for different temperatures. Those data helped the team develop an equation that can glean sea surface temperature records from a mystery barnacle. The scientists conclude they can track a barnacle's water temperature history within 0.1 degrees Celsius. The precision Griffin says oceanographers need to narrow the search area. The methods available in the wake of the flaperon's discovery were accurate to only about 2 degrees Celsius, which Griffin says the investigative team found too uncertain.